Playing commercials on the beginning, Alyssa style. Yeah. Woo! What up, everybody? It's Friday. Everybody's gonna die out here because we're all sick, but we're still gonna do a show because why not? Because it's Friday. You know what I'm saying? It's Friday, so we might as well do a show. Just because, that's life. But what do we got going on in our world? There we go. We've got Alyssa Bentley's here. She's up in the corner for a minute while I do the little beginning of the show. I want to say thanks to everybody for coming out today because it is Friday. And we will be answering our Patreon posts. What the deuce is Patreon? Do we know what Patreon is?
So I remember when Patreon was new and people were like, hey, if you've got some creator that you just really, really like and you want to be able to support them and that otherwise they're not going to be able to continue to produce the stuff that you like webcomic artists or a YouTube creator, for instance.
That's a good example. I like that.
Creatives. It's a website. You can go and you can donate like $1 a month and it just sort of helps. It's like a little tip jar.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things like we got where are we at? Oh, hold on. Let me check. Hey, man, I got to grab my other mouse here and take a look. Let's cancel this. We don't want that. 25,692 subscribers, man. We're
nice.
Close to 25,700. Oh, it just went up. Yeah, look at that, guys. But the whole point is that even if we had the 25,000 people at 50 cents a month, right? 50 cents a month would create basically a big enough budget to do a lot of the projects that we want to try to do. As you guys know, I've been on YouTube for probably 10 years now, just, with the fish tank stuff and trying to do what I can and just been piecing it together tiny little bit by tiny little bit, and obviously I'll keep doing that. So that's probably why a lot of people aren't that motivated, right? It's because they're like, oh, he'll just keep doing it. He'll just keep making videos and stuff whether I support or not. Well, you're probably not wrong. They'll just continue to be less quality than I would like them to be. So, yeah, you could probably keep getting content, but it might continue to be not as good as I would like it to be.
Right. Well, I mean, and if you think about it, if you have the means and the ability and the desire to donate to the cause, I guess, you're helping out people who want to watch but can't afford to donate to the cause. So it's just kind of a thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I like that. Are you being quiet today?
No, not on purpose.
Okay. So just a word to the wise. Alyssa's sick. I'm sick. We're all sick. And
we probably have different kinds of sick, so it's going to be real fun spreading germs around.
Well, we definitely probably do have the different sicknesses. I got a couple of them from Olivia, my daughter, who's right up there. And then, Olivia got sick again, so I took her to the doctor, and I was like, hey, doc, I'm sick, too. And they were like, okay, let's check you out, buddy. And they were like, yeah, we got to get you in for x-rays and stuff. And then it's like, yeah, you got pretty bad pneumonia, so here, yeah, you should stop doing that.
Stop having pneumonia?
Stop having the pneumonia.
That's cool.
Which is funny. But, yeah. So I've been dealing with that all week, and, it hasn't been that bad. Last night, I was in, like, a coughing fit that was just to end the world. Like, yeah. I coughed so much, I was like, I have to go to bed. I'm tired.
It's when you cough yourself into, like, feeling like your lungs going to collapse or you're going to get, like, a giant migraine from it. You could feel
like your lungs going to collapse. I felt that feeling before.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely felt like I was knocking the wind out of myself recently. I'm like, okay, slow down, breathe even though you don't want to because it makes you want to cough.
Yeah. It's going to make me cough more. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty fun. It's been a pretty fun, action-packed week around here with everybody being sick. So and we've had the snow event. It's been snowing. It's been cold. It's kind of turning around a little bit now. It's warming back up to 38 degrees instead of 28 degrees, right?
That's definitely warmer.
All the international people out there are like, what? I have no idea what
Fahrenheit.
temperature. I'm talking Fahrenheit, bruh.
We're talking below freezing to above freezing.
That's right.
That's the universal way to say that.
Yeah. Johan says, lung collapsed. If you guys know, you guys can see Johan in the chat right there. That is the hombre that I got to visit in the Netherlands. So, update on Johan. He has a collapsed lung. He is in the hospital. I don't know if he's been let go from the hospital yet, but now we are two brothers in the pneumothorax department. We're two brothers that have both had the pneumothorax. A lot of fun. That's a very exciting, fun thing to have. Yeah, it's good times for everybody out there. Don't get a pneumothorax. It sucks. It's the worst. And yeah.
If I can help it, I will.
Yeah, don't get it. That's not good. But yeah, anyhow, so he knows what's going on. But shout out to Johan out there. Hope you're doing pretty good. I didn't say hi to anybody else in the chat, so let me randomly pick a person. Amanda C, what's up? And Violet Alpha, what's up? And Fish Eye on Tactics, what's up? But Big D Smoke, you can notice that his name is green. What's up? Good to see you. Those green names in there are people that are supporting the channel via the YouTube join thing, not necessarily Patreon. People ask which one's better. I just feel like Patreon's a better value for you guys. So, it is what it is.
Right.
Did I got a message from my cousin.
Oh.
What? What's going on here? You went to Hawaii. How was it? Tell us all about your Hawaii trip.
So Hawaii was awesome. If anybody ever tries to tell you that it is not awesome, they're lying and trying to keep all of Hawaii to themselves. Don't
let them do it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was one time we went to the beach every single day.
Every single day?
Every single day we went to the beach. We didn't always find somewhere to go into the water, but we would always go to the beach at least one time. And one time we were determined we were going to go swimming. And then it started raining. And I was like, oh, man, it's raining. We're still going swimming, though. And Justin was like, but it's raining, though. And I was like, it's a warm rain. It's a warm rain.
It's all like 83 degrees out and
raining. The water
like...
is smooth on this side of the island. The water was smooth. It wasn't the waves. This was the opposite side, not where the surfers were. And and I was like, look, we're going to go in the water. We're going to be wet anyway. What does it matter if it is also raining? So we did. We went into the water and it was wonderful and lovely. And there was just like calm waves coming up, and the water, to me, salt water tastes like soup. So it's just a little weird swimming in soup, but
salt water does taste soupy.
It is. It's yeah. And
did you notice that you were more buoyant?
I noticed that it was very hard for me to sink.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's very hard for me to sink in general because I happen to be a very buoyant person all around.
Because you're a lady.
Probably,
You're pH designed for buoyancy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We all like pH designed for buoyancy. This is brought to you by pH.
Yes.
Today's
and
show.
People were like, do you want to get like a floaty thing to be out in the water? And I was like, why? And I just stretched back, my hands behind the head, and just kind of float. No effort whatsoever. They're like, you don't even have to tread water. I'm like, no, just freaking float. It's good.
Yeah. You got a maximum effort though. Otherwise, Deadpool will be mad at you.
Well, I mean, there was several times where I was like, okay, well, I need to go swimming. And they're like, well, but we are swimming. And I'd say, I'm going to swim out to that buoy and touch it and then swim back. And that's actually kind of hard when there's waves. So I'm used to swimming in a pool. And
Pool swimming.
so that was my effort right there,
Yeah.
was actually swimming places.
Okay. Yeah. Did you see turtles?
We did actually. We saw a couple of turtles, but not in the water. They had crawled out of the water onto the beach to go to sleep, which I didn't know was a thing. And none of my people knew it was a thing. And we were like, oh no, should we call Fish and Wildlife? there was people there just kind of like taking selfies with these sleepy turtles and whatever. And I was like, don't you think that we should leave the turtles alone and maybe call Fish and Wildlife and stuff? And then this Australian woman, she goes, oh, that's not what you should do. You should just leave the turtles alone. They're just sleeping. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And then Justin looked it up like, well, what should I do? The turtle looks sick. It's up on the shore. Why is it there? And it was like the first thing, don't touch it. The turtle's just sleeping. And we're like, okay, I guess this nice Australian lady was telling the truth.
No, to everybody out there, if you do see sea turtles, I believe it's 20 feet. And you're supposed to stay at least 20 feet away from them, I think.
Oh, that
might
was
be wrong.
definitely not what was happening.
It might be 10 feet. It might be 15 feet. It might be 25 feet. I don't know. But the law, actually, because they're protected species, you're supposed to stay away from them. So if you were to call Fish and Wildlife, it'd be literally to call them and be like, hey, there's idiots touching these turtles. What do I do? And they'll be like, oh, we'll send somebody out right now, and we'll just find them, arrest them, or whatever. Because that's one of those things that I always try to remind people that when you're out there kind of screwballing around in nature and just having a good time, just be cognizant of certain things like, oh, I'm going to Hawaii. Oh, there's sea turtles there. Right? Like, oh, I'm not going to touch them because the thing that you like so much, by touching them is what could kill them, because you're going to leave a funky smell all over them. You're going to, you could put bacteria on them that could be a problem. There's a whole long list of reasons why you don't, but
scratch their slime coat or something.
Yeah, it's just, you just don't. It's just not good. You know? So, stuff like that. That's, I've been to Hawaii a bunch of times, and I like it there a lot. I know that you were talking about like, oh, you know what, we should move here, and I talked to you in the Discord. I was like, just start to take into account like all of the things that you have to do when you live in Hawaii, as opposed to just visiting.
Right.
It's like, I know a ton of people that here's an example area, right? People would go to like New Orleans, right? Mm-hmm. They'd go down there, they'd party for a week, and they'd be like, you know what I got to do? I got to move to New Orleans now. And it's like, dude, you have to go get a job in New Orleans. You got to pay your rent in New Orleans. Now you got to commute to work in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's all of the stuff that you weren't doing is why it was so super rad when you were at the place you were at. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with New Orleans and no reason to not move there.
Well,
but you get that vacation mode.
Right.
Everybody was so nice to me when I was on vacation. It's like, yeah, dude, because everyone you walked up to, you were smiling at and being in a good mood. How about try doing that at home and then be like, oh, everyone around my house is actually pretty nice too. Like, duh. When you're like walking around all scowly faced, wondering what's going on with your mortgage, and it's like, oh, something's wrong with my house plumbing, and I gotta get that fixed, and I gotta drive over here, and traffic sucks, and blah 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 blah. And then it's like, well, everyone around my house is super mean to me. It's like, act like you're on vacation at home for a week, and then tell me what your house, where you live is pretty good.
Well, and the other thing was, and I fully acknowledge this, and I just I think about it as being like, it would be really nice to be somewhere that was warm and I could go to the beach sometimes. That would be amazing. And also I would like to grow coconuts. That'd be great.
Right.
But because I didn't actually have fresh coconut the entire time that I was freaking there, and I'm just like, clearly I have to go back.
Right.
But I also acknowledge the fact that most of the time we were on Waikiki or the
Right.
North Shore
Yeah.
or, pretty much every once in a while we would go to some beach because we couldn't find parking at any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be clearly a locals beach.
Right.
And the people would be looking at us like, what are these pale bitches doing? Who are these people? They're not from here.
Yeah.
And we would just ignore them and go in the water. But still.
Mm-hmm. And, the thing is, like, I know a lot of people from Hawaii, white and not white, from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's an interesting place, but also at the same time, like, you have to remember, like, the locals are not that happy to see tourists tromping all over, like, where they're normally at. And that's because it's all year round, man. You're constantly dealing with, like, who's this stranger person who's here on vacation? Like, just go to the vacation places. That's why you're here. It wears on you for sure.
I just want to be a little bit clear when I say who's this pale person. I mean, this person who's clearly not seen the sun in 15 years is tromping all over the beach, whereas the white people who were on the beach who looked like they were sailors had been sailing the 7 seas and outside and getting sun on them the past 35 years of their life.
Been friends with a guy for like 25 years that, well, maybe less than that. 20 years. Who's from Hawaii, and he's legit like as white as you could be. Like, he has like naturally bleach blonde hair, like blue eyes. He's skinny, tall, white guy. But he's from Hawaii. Like, he's from there. He was born there. He grew up there, and it's like, who's this guy? It's like, I don't know. He's Hawaiian, but I don't understand how this world works in the 21st century anymore. It's like, okay, well,
maybe he doesn't like sun.
Well, he likes the sun, and he likes doing,
It'd be funny if he was like living on Hawaii and being like, man, it sucks here. I just want it to be cloudy and rainy all the time. That's all I want.
I would guarantee you that there is somebody on Hawaii right now that's going like, man, I wish it was just like snowing or something,
The grass is always greener somewhere else.
Well, and it's like, Vicky has relatives from Hawaii, and a lot of them have moved from the island. Just because it's a weird life, like living on an island in the middle of the ocean. You're far away from a lot of the stuff. Like, and weird things are expensive. It's not as expensive as people like to play into it.
Right.
But there's like weird things are expensive, and there's weird things that just aren't available.
Like they don't have Chipotle on Oahu.
Right. Well,
which was pointed out to me a few times. Like, oh man, I really want to go to the mainland and try some Chipotle. And I'm like, it's just a big, all right,
It's like, yeah, you want to try Chipotle of all things? Like, why don't you go to the mainland and have some actual either Mexican food or
Well, they have
Peruvian food or Brazilian food. You know what I mean? Like, well, if you're going to the mainland, you want to eat Chipotle of all things.
They have Mexican.
You'd be like, do you want diarrhea and salmonella poisoning? Like, it's what they're known for. I mean,
well, I don't know. His aunties were telling me.
This show was not brought to you by Chipotle, but, hey, if they got the checkbook open, I don't know. We probably would go in for that.
Right. Well, I guess they were saying that they're thinking they're getting a Chipotle at some point in the near future, but yeah, I don't know. And I would like to visit other islands. I haven't yet. I've only visited Oahu so far, so I figured there was plenty to see on Oahu.
My favorite island is Kauai.
Really?
Yeah, that's my favorite island out of all of them.
I keep wanting to try to go to the Big Island just because it's got apparently all habitats.
It's got Chipotle.
Maybe. Probably not,
Chipoodle. It's got Chipoodle there. Actually, I don't think I would accept a Chipotle sponsorship, so no.
We actually went to Walmart a lot.
I would draw a line in the sand.
At Chipotle sponsorship?
Probably.
Huh.
Well, I'd probably draw the line at Subway. You know? Like, get out of
Yeah.
here with that yeasty bread.
I
Ugh.
would definitely, yeah.
And I'll admit, I've eaten Subway in the last year. And it's sad. I don't want to ever do it again.
I just spilled ice on myself. That's the
That's a
weirdest thing ever.
It's a good look. It's a good thing you got going for you.
Yeah.
Let's check in with the chat here real quick. Hawaii sounds dope, because it is dope. It's great. I highly recommend anybody going to visit it. It's an amazing place.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the things that really stands out to me about being in Hawaii is the air quality is like next to none. Like the air is so nice. Just the air outside, just the air. The air quality is amazing, and I'm all for it.
I will say when we stepped off the plane in like this huge torrential downpour.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just raining so hard, and it was so hot and so muggy, and I couldn't breathe. It was like trying to breathe water, and I was like, oh man, I don't miss this about summers in Minnesota, because that's what summers are like in Minnesota. But then after that, it cleared up and it was fine.
Justin Woody's asking, I watched videos, but anyone have any tips about planting buse in the substrate? Is it mostly just being very careful and not to bury the rhizome? Yes. 100% correct there, Justin. You just want to bury the roots, just the dangly roots that are dangling down. Do not plant the rhizome. Generally speaking, now not 100% of the time, but generally speaking, if you plant the rhizome, it stifles it out and will cause it to rot, and it will generally be a problem because you don't want your plants to rot and die. Right. Same thing goes for most Anubias varieties. If you plant just the roots and keep the rhizome up above being buried in the substrate, the roots will dig down and pick up some nutrients and help them grow. Same thing with Anubias and abuses. You want to get some directional CO2 at those plants if you have them fully submerged all the time.
Yeah.
They're a plant that's fairly dependent on picking up the pace on having some good amount of CO2 in the water, or they'll just be slow.
Yeah.
And they'll still be slow with a high level of CO2, but it will pick up the pace with a good amount of CO2. So hopefully some tips there. YV Co says, I saw you have a vivarium.
Sweet.
What's up, fellow vivarium visitor?
Hey, an in-person fan.
I will be back. I'm planning on going to vivarium again this year. Loosely working out the plan to go to Interzoo in Germany. So if people want to look that up and want to go to Interzoo, it's hard to get in there because you need a business to get in. You can't just be like a random person. You have to get a pass. It's a little bit difficult, but not crazy difficult. But we'll be at Interzoo, and I'm planning on going to vivarium again this coming year. I have to figure out when the dates are and that kind of stuff, and hopefully get things booked. But yeah, that's the plan.
Cool.
Those are the two conventions I plan on going to this year. Those are the only two I'm planning on going to. There might be some other things that I do, but to be, let's just be brutally honest here when I say it's like it costs a lot of money to do that travel, and if I'm not doing that kind of travel as like a specific project and maybe has some kind of sponsorship or whatever, it becomes very cumbersome. I'm gone from my family. I'd be using up vacation time to go do this YouTube projects.
Vacation time? What's that?
Well, I don't get vacation time. I just am gone from work.
Right.
So I lose the work income, that kind of stuff. I own my own business, so that's kind of the thing. Is like if I'm gone, it just don't happen. Like ain't nothing happening.
Right.
Just a void of voidness.
Right. Yeah.
But those are the two I'm planning on going to. We might do. I might do some other trips, but I don't want to I don't want to spoil it if they're just like 35% maybe, kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to do like Cataclysm or one of the catfish conventions.
Yeah, I'd like to do the catfish convention one of these days. That one's actually fairly affordable because
Last year it was in Wisconsin, I think.
It was in Wisconsin. I wish I would have been more on the ball for that one last year because I probably could have stayed with my buddy in Wisconsin. So I probably could have had room and board for free.
Depending on where it is in Wisconsin, I could probably stay with my sister and just drive across from Minnesota and back and forth.
Although it is really difficult to like stay at someone's house, you know what I mean? It's like, here's all my luggage. I'm gonna be here like sometime. I'm gonna come rambling in here like after convention, so it's I don't know.
Well,
but the guy I could stay with if in Milwaukee, I would have been like, whatever,
Well,
he's the kind of guy where I've been like, yeah, what are you mad?
Oh.
Were you mad, guy?
Well,
come on, you're not mad. Yeah, you're not mad.
I don't know. I think that if you're going to stay with somebody, it's best to stay with somebody who can be like, yeah, and here's the spare key.
Yeah.
Just coming in and out. Here's the code to the alarm if we happen to be out and the alarm is set. It's all good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We did have an incident in Hawaii where we came back to, because we were staying with Justin's aunties, and they didn't lock the door, but they did set the alarm, and we came back to their house and opened the door assuming they were there, and the alarm starts going off, and we're like, oh, they're not home. And
did you have the code?
No, we didn't have the code. Oh. There was no keys, nothing. We were just,
It's like the phone starts ringing and you answer the phone. Of course, it's the like alarm people or whatever.
Yep.
And you just got to pick something.
Right.
So what do you go with? I go with the code word is Bruce Wayne. Nope. All right, getting arrested.
Right. So what we actually did was we went outside.
I worked for a company that we had that alarm, and the phone, like the whole building, all of the phones would ring.
Yeah.
Because it was the alarm company calling.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could literally, like, whatever the code word was. I don't even remember what the code word was. But it was always this lottery because we had all these truck drivers that would come in and out of that building. They would bring their trucks back, right? And then they would like wash their truck outside, and then they would come in to like drop off whatever and their paperwork and that kind of stuff. And they would always set off the alarm. And the code words that those guys would come up with sometimes is so funny. It's like, dude, why would you say anything? What, you would just take a guess of just one of the 100,000 words? I don't know how many words there are, but let's just say there's 100,000 words. Like, you think you're just gonna get it right?
Yeah.
You're like, chocolate, aardvark. It's chocolate aardvark. That's the code, right? No? Oh, crap. All right. I guess I'll wait for the cops.
That's
It's like, what are you doing? Yeah. That whole alarm system, like the one time we got like super robbed. Like that place we got robbed.
Oh, wow.
And so I worked the graveyard shift at that place, so I would come into work at 5 p.m. and we would load out all the equipment, blah, 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 and then we'd work from 5 p.m. till 6 a.m., right? And sometimes we'd get done a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that, so me and this guy Juan Carlos is the other guy I worked with. He had gotten back like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes before me because he was working a different job.
Mm-hmm.
And it was maybe like 4:30 in the morning. So it's like that weird sort of late night, but no one's come into work at any of the other places around. It's just dead nighttime quiet, right?
Yeah.
And so I pull back up into the shop area. And I say, oh, I see Juan Carlos here. Okay, cool, man. So I like hop out, and he's like, hey, man, what's going on? And it's all in Spanish. And he's like, hey, man, your stereo is in my car. And I'm like, what? It's all in Spanish, so I'm thinking, like, something's wrong with my brain, right? Because, like, I'm not hearing what he's saying, and I'm interpreting it as my stereo is in his car.
Right.
And I'm like, there's something wrong with my brain. But he's like, no, man, your stereo is in my car. Like, why is your stereo in my car? And I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying right now. Like, are you drunk or something? Like, are you on drugs? Like, because, like, I'm not, but what is happening? Like, I don't understand what's happening. And he's like, come over here. And I'm like, okay. So we walk over to his car. He opens up the trunk of his car, and my stereo is in the trunk of his car. Like, you know, my subwoofers are in there. My deck is in there. Like, all my, the door speakers, they're in there. Like, my tools, some other stuff are in his car, in the trunk of his car. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're like the worst thief in the world. What, you just like, you just busted yourself, you know?
Right.
And he's like, no, he's like, I'm asking you, why is this in my car? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What's going on? Like, what is happening? So we start looking around the property, and we realize, like, people have been on the property that night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could get in. Nobody could get into the warehouse or the shop. It was like a big machine shop, right? Like, no one could get into that building. They couldn't get into that building. But next door to our property, if you went through these, like, woods, there's, like, a big security fence back there with, like, barbed wire on it and all that kind of nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Next door was, like, a logging company.
Okay.
So what had happened was they'd come onto our property because we didn't have a gate to get into our property because there were so many trucks coming in and out all the time. It was stupid to have a gate.
Yeah.
Because those guys would just crash into it. That's the reality. It's like those guys would come flying around and probably crash into the gate, and we'd have to, like, get a new gate all the time.
Uh-huh.
So we were just like, yeah, that's stupid. We don't want that. That's dumb. But it turns out the criminal guys, they'd come onto the property, and they backed up to those woods. They backed into the little wooded area back there, and then they went through and cut a giant hole in the fence.
Oh, wow.
So they cut a giant hole in the fence, and then they went over to the logging company over there, and they stole, like, all the logging guys. Like, they had a bunch of dirt bikes there. They had all these chainsaws. They had just all this equipment. They just, apparently all night, just stole stuff all night and just kept coming and going because we looked at the security cameras, and it's like nondescript truck. Like, we didn't get their license plate or anything. Just like a big flatbed truck, like beep, 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 like backing up, which... If anybody had seen that on the property, they would have been like, oh, yeah, that's normal. Because there's constantly big semis and stuff, like, backing up on our property doing stupid nonsense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what apparently they had done is they were going to steal Juan Carlos's car, but they didn't want my truck, probably because it probably smelled like farts. So they're probably like, we don't want this fart truck. But they took all the stuff out. They took all the stuff out of my truck, or maybe they didn't have enough people, and they were just... oh, we'll steal the car instead of the truck. I don't know. But they took all of the stuff out of my truck. They cut the stereo out, all that stuff, and then put it in his car. And we'd apparently come back before they came to steal his car.
Huh.
And it was like just happenstance that we happened to be there. The funnier part of the story, so the guys that worked next door, the logging company, like, one of the guys that worked there was 100% convinced that it was somebody local, right, that had done this. Because you kind of have to know where you're at, what are you doing, like, what's going on. Like, so you couldn't, and it wasn't in an area where you would just be driving around like, hey, criminal enterprise time, let's go over there. You know, like, you wouldn't have known.
Right.
So he was, like, very convinced that it was somebody local. And so he was like, apparently, we found out after the fact, apparently whenever he would drive to go somewhere, he would go a different road. Like, he would go a different route. Like, every time he would go take his truck to go somewhere, he would take a different route.
Okay.
And one of the times he was driving along and he saw one of the dirt bikes, like, parked out front of some dude's place.
Oh, no.
And he's just like, that is the dirt bike. We know exactly who this is. So they apparently pulled, like, the semi up to block the whole front of the property.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, you can't leave. There's a semi in the way, right? Like filled with logs. So the logging guy was like calling the police. The police didn't want to come. They didn't want to come. And he was like, all right, I'm just going to leave my truck here. And these guys are just going to have to figure out how to get off their property. They're not going to be able to get out of here. And eventually, like, the people in that house called the police. So the police came to tell the logger guy to move. And the logger guy was like, I've been calling you. What? They have our stuff like on their property. Like, these are the thieves. So they ended up getting busted. But it was just like so funny. Like, just the whole exchange of like, oh, I'm calling the cops. And the cops are like, nah, we're busy. Like, go figure out your own nonsense or whatever, you know. And it's like, okay, well, I'll just post up here. Eventually, they called the cops on the logger guy. And I'm like, how dumb do you have to be? Like, if you have all the stuff from robbing the logging company,
right?
Don't
and
you
then
know,
the
like,
loggers
there's a
are
logger
right
truck
there
out front? Like, how stupid can you be, man? Like, I don't know, man. It was just like, what's wrong with your brain? You stupid criminals. It's like so dumb. called the cops on themselves. Pretty funny.
So weird.
Yeah, but luckily, like, the sad part was I had to like reinstall my stereo and like fix all the stuff on my truck, and like they'd punched the door locks, so I had to replace all the door locks, all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a pain, but yeah, it's still a funny story. And realistically, like, no one from the company I worked for, no one was harmed, or, you know, like, so I was like, it's kind of funny. But of course I fixed my stereo like in the shop there. I'm like, yeah, I'm using your crap because that's just how that goes. Like, I wasn't paying out of pocket to fix it.
Right. Makes sense.
Does it?
I don't know.
I mean, loosely. it loosely makes sense. Oh my God, Rumbusta's got to go, and I forgot to shout out his super chat. Swedish Krones, 20.75. 20 3/4. I like it. But nice. Rumbus, thanks for coming out, brother. I just noticed that he had to go. So, but shout out, always supportive of the show. Hope to make it to Sweden this year. I really hope to. Hope to make that happen. That'll probably be a family trip though, so it would be cool to meet some fans. I don't have that many fans in Sweden, so I don't think it would be like that.
It wouldn't be a giant convention.
Yeah, it wouldn't be all
Corvus
like
convention.
totally crazy. It would just be like, oh man, get to meet up with some cool Swedish people and like go have food or something, you know, like, which would be cool.
Corvus Con.
Yeah, it's 3 people. It's me and Vicky and one person
At a Denny's. Or the Swedish version of a Denny's.
I bet you the Swedish version of Denny's is probably pretty good.
You get some really excellent Swedish pancakes that they just call pancakes. That's just the kind they have there, probably. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's true or not.
They probably have a totally crazy name because, what were they called? Proffages. They were like proofages. Those are like little tiny pancakes in Holland.
Huh.
They're like this big. And they're just like a little puff pancake. And then they put like, you could get honey on it. You could get powdered sugar on it. You could get like cinnamon sugar on them, whatever. You just get a whole bunch of them on a plate. Like, it's pretty much dessert. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of weird, touristy kind of thing to be having those. But
yeah,
it's like dessert on a plate. Hex Tank Apologist is here. What's up, man? That's a Hex Tank Apologist is a Patreon supporter. So any opinions on when to start CO2 when using a long sunrise and sunset feature? Should I continue with CO2 starting an hour before the lights turn on or wait? You want CO2, yes, continue with it an hour ahead of time before any lights come on. You want to build up that CO2 before any lights come on. Just the way to do it. There's just really, you know, even if you were gonna save money or something, it would be like 20 cents or something. You'd be saving nothing, and you would just be impeding your plant's health. So you definitely want that CO2 to build up before the lights come on at all, and you definitely, with the LED lights, even with the ramp up into the morning, you know, you have like an hour ramp up. Where it's like sunrise, you'd still be surprised on how much light is actually happening, even when those things are at 7% or something. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised how much light is actually making it to the plants and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm currently doing an experiment with my lights to see if I can give the plants enough light to do their thing, but also cut back enough so that the algae kind of dies down some. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's exploding, and I can't keep on top of it. And I didn't even think about the CO2. It's just running the same way it always has been.
Yeah.
But I've got basically like the longest ramp up ever of like 6 hours. And then it's at full for 3 hours. And then it ramps back down.
For 6 hours?
Something like that. I don't know. It's basically, I just want to be able to see my fish.
Oh, you just want to have the lights on 24 hours a day somehow.
If I could, that would be great. But it's not. All the lights in the house go out at 10. Some of the lights go on at 7:30. One of my sump, the light goes on at 6:30, but that's it. Everything else 7:30. So they're on for quite a while,
Right.
which I know is not ideal, but I don't like the siesta thing. And I'm out of the house for so long. I just want to be able to see the fish. Like sometimes I get to see them in the morning, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. What I would say is I mean, especially if you had like one of those Wi-Fi timers.
The Bluetooth things.
Hold on, I got one right here. Talk amongst yourselves. I found them down here earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
This is an empty box.
I haven't even looked at the chat for a while. I don't know what the heck you guys are talking about. Flour and yeast. Hawaii's pollen count. Goodness.
Oh, don't fall over. Almost tripped and fell over.
Jeez. I don't need to take you to the emergency room.
I wouldn't need to go to the emergency room for falling over. Come on.
I don't know. I went to the urgent care for falling over.
I only go to the urgent care if I have severe pneumonia. But that's just because I took my baby again because my baby was sick. Yeah, so these are like Wi-Fi timers, like this thing. I think it's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you know. You can just download the app, so maybe you don't have something like the FluVol 3.0 that has the programmable, 100% programmable in it. You can just get one of those, and you can actually program that thing to like turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. And you can actually have your plants growing on as if 2 days was in one day, right? So you just take it and split the time up. So instead of a 24-hour light cycle, you split it up into a 12-hour light cycle, right? And then you can basically do the math on that and go, oh, I want a 4-hour window and a 4-hour window, and then where those land is how you do that. I don't go any less than a 4-hour period. I would guess that a 2-hour or a 3-hour will still do something for photosynthesis for the plants and stuff, but I didn't get a lot of success with anything that was that short. But I've had a lot of success with 4-hour and 5-hour light photo periods, right? Has worked out pretty well. And I wouldn't necessarily say there's a lot of detriment to it, except for plants have a tendency to grow less compact, if that makes sense. They'll have a tendency to reach more and get a little leggy, which I talk about leggy a lot. I don't even know if anybody ever knows what I'm saying when I do say that.
I could explain it.
I see MD Fish Tanks is here. What's up, man? We got to hang out if I ever go to Europe, right? The ones that I recommend is right here. Let me get a link for it. Oh, and by the way, Amazon is an affiliate sponsor of ours, just so the Federal Trade Commission is happy that I did mention that the link that I'm going to put in here does give a little bit of a kickback to the channel. So that's a way that you could sponsor the channel, is that if you go through our if you go through our Amazon portal, doesn't change your prices.
Nope.
We just basically get the advertising. So there's two types of plugs that I know that work. So there's the Casa Smart Plug, right? And this is sort of the cheaper varietal, right? Let me get a copy, and I'll put it into the chat as soon as I can figure out where the chat window went. There it is. So here's the link right there. So if you click on that link, it'll take you over to Amazon. Don't freak out. And don't freak out and go crazy. So the Casa Smart Wi-Fi Plug Lite by TP-Link, right? So the Casa Smart is sort of the knockoff one. And then this one, the TP-Link, is like the same company somehow, but this is like the more robust version of them. These are the only ones I know for a fact work. I've tried out some other ones, and they've not worked, and we're not going to mention those because it gets super confusing if I talk about the ones that don't work and the ones that do work, right? That one in your hand right there happens to not work because it's not a Casa one. I don't even know what the stupid brand is. Don't say it. It just gets confusing when we talk about way too many brands. And then I get a bunch of questions later, and then somebody's like, I ordered the one that you were talking about, and it turns out you were talking about the crappy one. I'm like, okay, so the Casa TP-Link, they're combined somehow. I don't know how that company is combined. Those ones, as a matter of fact, work. I've only occasionally had them freak out. We have a bunch of them up at Aquarium Co-op at the warehouse there. I think we have, I want to say there's like 14 of them running. One of them freaked out once in a couple of months. It just would stay on for some reason. It was like, I don't know what the heck is going on with this thing, but it's just staying on for some reason. So,
what's it running?
Huh?
What are they running, though? I would think that he would have all the 3.0s.
We do have the 3.0s. There's 184 of them, though. Does the app run 184 of them on one app?
I have no idea, actually.
Exactly.
I was just curious. Like, I've got, hold on.
We have them plugged in on the Wi-Fi timers because
I have 11 3.0s.
Yeah.
At my house.
There's a lot of people that know.
Quite a bit less.
A lot of people know that 11 of it works on the app. But most of those apps will only dial up to like 99 operational wise because of the Bluetooth frequency has a tendency to. Don't quote me on any of this crap. It's all secondhand. I don't do Bluetooth networking. Okay.
I'm taking notes.
But
I'm going to start.
It has
quoting.
a tendency to like. What does it do? Like. It basically just gets confused, right? And it'll like get crossed wires in the Bluetooth non-wire world, right? So we don't know. We never tried to see if we could even go past 100 because it's just crazy to be like trying to open that app and have everything sync and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. Scroll all the way down to like number 168 and be like,
right.
Turn back on. I don't know why it's unsynced, but it is. It's not a big deal if you have like 10 or 12 of them. It's like, oh, let me just scroll up. Oh, there we go. That one, for some reason, was off. I don't know why, but, so we have them all hooked up that way because it's...
As long as they're also labeled.
They are all labeled.
That's excellent.
Yes. Yes, I have all of the ballasts labeled. I have all the light fixtures labeled. I have all of the cords labeled. I have all the plugs labeled. I have all of the power strips labeled. And we have all of the wireless, the Wi-Fi things with a label on them. And
excellent.
Within the app, everything is labeled in a section of light in which you turn it on and off. So, yes, it is a lot of tedious work to label every single thing. Every tank is labeled. Every stand is labeled.
But it's one of those things. It's like you do all that up front, and then it makes it so much easier down the road, as opposed to having somebody else try to come in and relearn the system. And I just know a lot of people who don't think that way.
I'm just saying when you do that with 90 aquariums.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm just saying.
I hope you get when I realize
good job to when you realize like, oh, we have to move this water output over this way a little bit. It works way better in this tank because I have to move the water outlet over this way. Okay, now do that 89 more times, and however long it took you to manufacture the thing that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get the idea where it's like,
Yeah. Volume.
oh, it's so many times. Like, if I fix one of my aquariums here, I'm like, oh, I got to change this, I got to change that, I got to cut a water line and reconfigure it this way. Oh, look, now I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, cool. I just figured it out. Now I got to do that 100 more times. It's like, oh, man. It's like those racks. Oh, did I have I had the rack video on here, but I think I got rid of it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this might be it. So here's a perfect example. I'll play it in the video. Like building these racks. It's like, yeah, okay, I cut 21 holes. I cut the legs. I cut all the pieces. Then all that kind of stuff, right? Now I need to do that 500 more times. And each sheet starts out as an 8-foot by 4-foot sheet. So you have to cut those down, do the math to make sure that you cut it down and not waste a bunch of material.
Mm-hmm.
And then cut all the legs and cut all the holes and then weld the legs on, let them dry, keep it clamped. Now do that 500 more times. And people watch these time lapses and they're like, yeah, look how fast that is. It's so fast. Like, so people watch those home improvement shows where they like buy a house and flip it.
Right.
And it's like the damn show is 22 minutes long with 8 minutes of commercials. And somehow they're like, oh, what up, bro? This house is completely remodeled. And it's like people watch those shows, man, and they think that's how long it's going to take. And it's like, no, this is going to take 5 months, dude. Like,
right.
What are you talking about? You know, right. But yeah, it just is what it is. That's one of the reasons why we need cool sponsors like the Fish Tank Barn with a Happy Friday Super Chat. Thank you, brother. So we can try to do more projects like that do actually take 5 months and compress it down for you guys into a half-an-hour episode, right? That's my plan. My plan is to be able to do that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I'm baby-stepping my way there. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, you know? You can literally look at, like, the channel analytics, and it's just, like, yes, there's growth, but it's just, like, little tiny bits. Even over the, like, 10-year period, you're like, oh, wait, hold on, I got to do it this direction. Which is great. In my opinion, I think it's better because, like, the people I get to meet are way better. The people I get to meet are, like, a way higher quality than I think what most people.
It's chicken butt.
You gotta watch out. The chicken's trying to come in the window out there. Chicken knows it's warm in here. Let's see. Guppy Guru says, I think it's been 60 days running on a Wi-Fi plug 2. I have some info on my Instagram so you can see the tank. Oh yeah, that's good. It's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Big D Smoke says he only wants snails, superworms, and jumbo mealworms. When I give him bloodworms or frozen brine, he helicopters through it and won't eat it.
Whoa.
Big D Smoke's fish is...
Some fish that won't eat frozen brine shrimp?
I think it's his puffer, I would guess.
I don't know. Everything that I own will eat frozen brine shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Everything?
Even if it's like, oh, this fish mostly just eats algae. And it's like, frozen brine shrimp? This is amazing. I'm going to eat all of it. I'm going to get so fat. And,
Oh, Sarah Baker's here. Not tricked by your backwards spelling.
Not anymore, that's for sure.
I always thought it was like some Russian dude or something.
Trixie.
Oran Gutan says, interview the chicken, please. No. Every time I interview these chickens, they get a big ego, you know? They get this huge ego, and then
Just
I'm
throwing
like,
bucks around.
I guess I got to butcher these chickens, and then I don't really want to butcher them, so. But it will happen soon, and I have no idea how I'm going to film that.
So
or I probably
awesome.
won't. People will freak out. All the lights from Jared. All the lights in my house except the kids' rooms are voice controlled. I have smart plugs. Also, I would be afraid of putting aquarium lights on the same thing since a stray voice command turns it off. Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want an aquarium to be on the voice command. No, I would definitely not want that.
I don't like things on voice command.
I don't like many things being on voice command. I always feel creeped out when I realize that the robot machines are listening and watching and listening and watching and being creeps.
I'm probably just old school
It's
about
so weird that like we invent these creepy machines, right? What are we doing? Come on now. Oh, speaking of creepy machines and creepy robots ruling the world, we do. Oh, hold on. There's a window around here somewhere that has. Okay, what? Oh, it's this one. We only have 35 likes. That is not going to encourage the robot machines to, I don't know, give us kudos or something, right? Is that enough likes to appease the robot overlords in which we constantly have to deal with, right?
I have no idea. I think I average like 15 on mine, so.
Alexa, play Corvus's videos forever.
Alexa, are you appeased?
Alexa, click the like button. Alexa, share this video with all of my Facebook.
I can't do that. Now searching.
Yeah. Siri, click the join button. Oh, that's probably against the rules.
I
don't
didn't
know.
understand that.
I didn't understand that, Carl. Who's Carl? Oh, Carl Nero. All right, let's get to our Patreon posts of the day now that we've probably infuriated a bunch of people.
Probably.
Boom, shakalaka. There we go. Nathan Alexander writes in to let us know that sorry he missed the live stream. Catch you next time, bud.
Well, you can always catch the replay.
You can always catch the replay. That is a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to say, yeah, you could always just listen and watch later and hit the like button and smash the subscribe Google buttons, and who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch it later. It's
Just
all
get
good.
distracted by chickens.
Easy goer guy says my Alexa is freaking out now. Sorry, guys. I have to do it at least once in my life. Come on now. Come on now.
It's like, oh gosh, one of my friends said once when everybody had iPhones and it was when the Hey Siri thing was new, and he's like sitting in a room, Hey Siri, call mom.
He'd be like, call mom.
And everybody's phone just started going, and he's like,
yeah, you probably just made everybody's phone just call their mom.
well, but
everybody has mom in their phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a contact. Like, everyone has the contact of mom.
But the thing is they've put a lot of saves in it, so you can no longer do that.
Right.
Mine won't do that anymore, and I definitely do have an iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is yours broken?
Oh.
Who's the iPhone person?
Siri.
Is it Siri?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would have to click on the button, and then she wakes up. She's like, oh, things you can ask me. Call Brian. I'm like,
who's Brian?
His contact.
Oh, what's the Android one? It's like Bixby, I think.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's Bixby. Oh, Bixby. Bixby's like from the Train Spotting, right?
I don't remember any of the names of anybody from Train Spotting.
Hold on. I don't know what's going on here.
I feel like it's been 18 years since I saw that movie. I could be wrong. I don't remember when it came out.
Which movie?
Train Spotting.
You never seen Train Spotting?
No, I have seen it
a
couple times, but I swear it's been like 18 years since I saw it.
Well, that's too long. You should probably watch it again. I didn't think the second one was very good.
They made a second one? Okay.
What?
I said they made a second one, and then I paused and I said, okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Who knows? Probably just pissed off a bunch of people.
Probably.
Sorry, guys. It was fun, but it was at your expense. I apologize. I loosely apologize. I'm not going over the top here. Dakota Davies sends this in, which I think everyone out there, pretty much everybody out there, could appreciate this. Finished with another stand. Would make some changes if I did it again, but it's all cedar and steel scrap from my work. So for free, I'm pretty happy with it. The bottom steel lifts out like a shower door, and the canopy opens at the top to slide the steel out. I would have made the canopy shorter, but it was originally... I'm going to try to read from over here. Originally using the outdoor LED floodlights and needed the extra space. Second attempt at a full planted tank. Just stocked it up with some neons and cherry shrimp. Next comes CO2 when the budget agrees. What do we got here? Look at that. It's even got like a neon at the top.
That is cool. Like
That's
a
pretty
little
dope.
fish light.
I have to admit, this is like... I mean, I could see where you're saying that, like, you would probably make some changes with this. Like, sliding the steel out is probably a little bit rough to get to the top. But I do like the bottom doors underneath. I like that. They slide that way.
Mm-hmm.
As at least I think that's what's happening. But for free, shoot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And where
I would
was
say
I
this
seeing...
costing for free?
Yeah, that's
right?
really good.
This is like a bonus. This is like you made $350.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember where I was seeing this, but somebody was sharing tank stands that instead of being, and then here's the top of the tank stand, it was like the whole, like the top of it just went up to the ceiling. So it was like it was a pillar with a fish tank in the center of it.
Mm-hmm. Oliver Knott.
So you could
Oliver
either
Knott.
go as smaller or you could go way taller.
Oliver Knott shares a bunch of tanks like that
Oh, yeah?
on Instagram. Mhm.
Oh, nice. Give you more space to play with more things. You could just, I
I
don't
like
know,
that.
use it for magnets.
That's pretty good. I like that. The one thing I would change here is I put a background on the tank. That's the one thing I would change. Like maybe just an opaque background, just some kind of film back there or whatever. Like the back, seeing straight through the tank and it goes to a wall. Like there's nothing behind that you're supposed to be seeing. Like that always, for whatever reason, just bothers me. I'm like, do something back there. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't make me mad if you had, like, all four sides clear in a tank. Like, that doesn't upset me. But I'm like, put it somewhere so maybe you're looking through to see something on the other side. If that's not, it's just, just the tank going straight back to the wall like that. Just
Like
it's
terrestrial plants?
It's a pet peeve thing. I'm just like, meh.
Like, what if you had a tank and then it was clear through it and on the behind part was terrestrial plants?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
You
It'd
could
be
definitely-
really, really hard to maintain, though.
You can definitely build depth that way, that's for sure.
But then if you were going to just build depth, might as well just have a bigger tank.
There's a limit to how far your tank could go back.
I don't know. I was just at the ocean. That seemed pretty big.
Yeah, it's not in a box.
I know.
Yeah, it's not like in a container, you know? Yeah. All right. Jared Darby sends this one in. What do we got here? Said,
Box
I
of wood.
decided to experiment with buying some sandblasted manzanita from a non-aquarium online retailer. It was much cheaper. I'm going to redo my 40-gallon breeder soon and thought that 6 pieces of 24-inch long manzanita would be a good start. Now I have to explain to my girlfriend why I think we need a 6-foot-long tank. That this is a full-size magazine this is a full-size magazine right here for scale. Any suggestions on cleaning and pre-soaking pieces this big? I know from personal experience, I've ordered a ton of what these are called coffins full of manzanita. The place I go with is Manzanita Burl Works. That is my favorite company to order sandblasted manzanita from. This requires no pre-treatment. You could take this and stick it right in your tank. It is dry. It is sandblasted. It is already prepped. It's ready to go. You don't have to do anything to it. It will turn brown over the next. It'll really darken up over the next month. It won't stay this blonde. Now, if you wanted it to stay this blonde, I'm currently using a 2-part epoxy. So you actually mix a 2-part epoxy and paint it on. And you have to be really cognizant of getting it completely on the piece. Allow it to completely cure and dry, and it will just. This wood will just stay like this.
I suppose if you were going to try to...
But it's super floaty.
Yeah.
It doesn't get waterlogged at that point, so you do have to attach it to something. So there are possibilities to keep it this blonde, but it is a little laborious. But it is just kind of like a fun little project that you could do if it's something that you wanted to do and you wanted to keep it this color. The epoxy, when it goes on, will darken it up from how it is right now. Because that is actually kind of wetting it. You know, it's like putting even a clear stain onto wood. The wood still, you know, it becomes technically darker, you know.
It's going to have that wet look.
More contrast. It's got that wet look. It's got that wet look.
That's why you put gel in your hair, right?
Yeah, sometimes we'll go out there and have that wet look. I don't have that wet look, do I?
Yeah. Your hair looks wet.
God damn, I got that moist look. I'm bringing the moist. Yeah. I don't know. I got a different barber yesterday, and she went intense on my haircut.
Looks good.
It's all right. It's working.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I'm no judge of haircuts, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I
we're
haven't
not
had my
crying.
haircut in a long time.
We're not crying. We're not crying. But you don't need to do anything to this for it to be tank safe. I've used this for years and years and years. That is my favorite source. Is that Manzanita Burl Works? They do a ton of Manzanita work. They own the forest and manage the forest.
Nice.
They do all the sandblasting themselves, the packaging themselves. The one thing that is difficult is you have to call them to place an order. They will ship it to you. They will do all that stuff. You have to call them, though. They're just old school like that. They don't want to take your online order. But you can go to their website and get what you see is what you get, all that kind of stuff. So you can call up and order specific, you can call up and order specific pieces of wood. Like they have those posted up and stuff like that. Just the owner of the company is like, I want to talk to the person and make sure they get the right thing. So
that makes sense.
It is a little bit inconvenient, but it's also not that big of a deal when you've gone through it and you're like, oh, hey, yeah, it's me. I'm calling. I want this wood, that wood, that wood. And he's like, okay, cool. And he'll add it up and let you know how much it is and charge your card while you're there. He's pretty quick about it. And then double check your mailing address and that kind of stuff before he even sends it out. And yeah. It's pretty interesting that somebody always answers the phone when I call there. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, let's see. Jared says this was $85 for this much wood. So
that's really good.
That's a pretty good deal. I would say Manzanita Burl Works is almost even a better deal.
Okay.
You'll get more wood for, I think the last time I ordered wood from there, it's literally like we call it a coffin because it's like the box shows up. It's like a coffin. It's a small person coffin. So it's like the, was it like the 54-inch long box, and then it's like this big. So what, like probably at least 24 by 24 or something like that. It's a big box, and it's stuffed full of wood. And I think it was like $135 or something. It was just tons and tons and tons and tons of pieces of wood. So I was just like, holy crap! Like, what am I doing with all this? I didn't have enough tanks at the time, so I bought more tanks.
Yeah, that's what you do.
That's what you do. You just buy more tanks. I got too much driftwood. I got to buy tanks. Alex Aquarium Science sends us in, and of course I have my mic stand right where it is that I could read it. Currently, I run all my lights on a 4-hour on, 2-hour off, 4-hour on cycle. This has been working quite well for me, but I was hoping to extend the midday siesta as long as possible so I can see my fish more when I am home. Any thoughts on what a reasonable maximum siesta would be? Hoping to get up to a 4-hour break period in between. Yeah, and I think inadvertently we were kind of talking about this earlier. It's definitely something that you can do. 4 hours on, and then, so let's do our math here, right? 4 hours on, 8 hours in between, 4 hours on, 8 hours in between equals 24 hours, correct?
Yeah.
8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, right?
3 sets of 8.
3
Shift
sets
work.
of 8. There you go. So yeah, that's personally what I would do. You could probably do 6 hours. You could probably do 4 hours. Just really not a problem with that, except for the long night period. May or may not be a slight issue, but as long as you're hitting like the lights being on for 4 hours, I have found that that's fine, right? That's not going to be a real detriment. But remember, with those 2 lighting periods, depending on your setups, I mean, I know there's got to be somebody out there right now that's super pissed at like, when I did that, my plants grew blah, 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 right? They grew some way. For me, they started to get kind of leggy, and so I made some changes from there. But there's no detriment. That's for sure. Jake D663 says, have you ever used Crip Myrtle Wood? I don't know. Don't have an answer for that. I don't know why I said it out loud, but I was reading it and I was like, I don't know. I guess I would have to look at it and figure it out. Off the top of my head, I'm like, it's not ringing a bell.
I've not heard of it. I wonder if it's not an American thing.
Well, it's from a guy named Jake.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
I think Jake. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. Creepy. Oh, creepy myrtle tree right there. Let's see what we got. Complete guide to creepy myrtle trees. This one down here says the crappy myrtle. Okay. Crepe myrtle. Lithoraceae. Okay. It's a deciduous shrub in the U.S. Age 10 to 6, except noted. Full sun, moderate water. Satisfactory plants from the south. Show summery flowers. Attractive bark. Brilliant fall color. This looks like an insanely fast-growing tree. Maybe yeah, maybe not. 20 to 30 feet tall. Light green leaves. It's not telling me how fast it grows, but when it comes down to wood, you essentially just want the slowest growing wood you can find. You want a tree that grows really slow and grows really dense, hard wood. That's what you want.
I mean, unless what you're doing is dropping in a snack for one of your wood-eating plecos or something. Like, here you go. Bloop.
Well, that's fine. You just get bogwood for that.
Right.
No big deal. Who sent this in? Ollie H sends this in. Says, finally joined the sump club. My Christmas tree project was to add a sump to my 120 liter, which is 32 U.S. gallons, green spotted puffer tank. I've been slowly acclimating from brackish to full salt over the last 6 months, with it only being a small tank. Having a skimmer, a filter, and a heater was taking up a lot of room. Was all set on buying a new pre-plumbed tank, but after doing some research and watching some of your plumbing videos, I decided to do it DIY. I'm glad I did. I actually found the experience fun, and drilling the tank was actually easy. I used one of the externally mounted overflow boxes, and I'm really happy with it. I'm now inspired to do my planted tanks and get all of the equipment out of them too. The only thing I have found is that the main drain will flush and empty every 8 hours or so. It is a bit weird, and I've tried making a Stockman-style overflow, but didn't cure it. Anything you would recommend trying? Thanks for giving me the confidence to give this a go. Ollie H. If it's flushing and doing that, you have a flow somewhere where you're ending up with a siphon at some point in time. When you end up with a full siphon, it will just completely draw all of the water out of there, and then it will slowly fill back up, right? So at some point in time, you're getting a full siphon. What I would do is actually just slow down with a ball valve is going to be likely the easiest thing to do. A gate valve, not a ball valve, is probably going to be the easiest thing to do, or just gauge the pipe down. So step the pipe down to smaller sizes until you get to a point where it's just siphon all of the time. right? And then the other drain is used for an emergency in case it gets completely full. It'll allow the water to go through down there. So you want to have a siphon all of the time, but you want to slow the siphon down so that it doesn't go faster than the overflow it has water going into it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what that flushing sound is. And it does happen every once in a while that things get out of whack, and you'll start getting that flush. It's kind of like a toilet flushing. It will happen from time to time, but like I said, I would keep the siphon going all of the time, and then make sure that you just dial it down so that it doesn't go faster than the pump is returning water up into the tank. Just have it going the same rate, basically. Sean Howell from the chat says, how do you speed up dwarf sag sending out runners? Dwarf sag, you want to separate and individually plant all of the time. Once the mother plants start sending out runners, you want to cut the runners off and replant them in a different spot to create more and more mother plants. The mother plant that sent out the initial runners, do not move that one, and it will continue to send out runners. So once you've established that mother plant, leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the babies off, move them to another spot, and keep doing that. And eventually, it shall be carpeted. Ollie H sends us in. Tight in the cabinet, I haven't had to add a skimmer with a big enough refugium. The water parameters are very stable now. Made the sump out of a 50-liter tank. Look at that.
Nice.
Boom. And doesn't even need the skimmer anymore.
That's awesome.
Which reminds me, I got to get rid of my reef tank. Did any super chats come in? I should probably scroll up here and check. Nope. Okay, we're good. My most successful tank was a 90-gallon Wallstad El Natural goldfish tank. No joke. I appreciate it. Thanks, Frank. Hey, we've all had our successes, and we've all definitely, well, me personally, I've had my failures. Somebody out there is perfect and just wins.
It sure as heck ain't me. That's for sure. Definitely lost. I've definitely had some major failures.
How'd you end up
life.
getting to go to Hawaii then?
My boyfriend took me to Hawaii. That's all. That's really the only way. I can't imagine any other way I could have got to Hawaii. It was really...
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's the only way.
That's it. I don't personally know anybody on Hawaii. Well, I do now, I guess. But, and the cost of going plus a hotel and all that would have been overwhelming for me on my own. And I've always wanted to visit. Yep. So for me, it was not just going to visit somebody's family for Christmas and New Year's. No. For me, this was trip of the lifetime. But apparently we're going to go back at some point, not too far in the distant future.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. That makes sense.
I've been promised that this wasn't the first and only time we're ever going to go.
Seems like you got pretty emotional about this whole situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you been to Germany yet?
No.
Well, you should go to Germany.
I haven't been anywhere that needs a passport other than Canada.
Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Canada. How's that song go?
Oh, Canada.
Canada.
We stand on guard for thee.
That's not how it goes. Then it goes, oh, Canada.
Our home and native land.
No, oh, Canada. That's it, right? It just keeps doing that over and over.
We stand on guard for thee.
Canada.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I apologize, all Canadian people. We're not making fun of your country.
I'm making fun of your anthem. Ours sucks too, by the way.
Yes, that's true.
They all do. I would say, by the way, they all stink. They're all stinkers.
Yeah.
They're just the worst.
And ours is hard to sing for people who don't sing very well.
They're not intended to be good music.
No.
Because, I think if your national anthem was such a good song, like, people would play it all the time. They would be like, check out this jam. This is awesome.
And not just when they have to.
Yeah. Like if, What was I thinking? Like, if the national anthem was a song from, like, who's pretty middle of the road? Like, what's
Cher?
his name? No, not Cher. Get out of here. Who's the guitar player? Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
Like if the national anthem was by somebody like Jimi Hendrix, right? Like, even when he did the national anthem, it was like 10 times better.
Yeah.
So, like, if he had written the national anthem, like, let's write a dope jam, then the next thing you know, it would just be playing on the radio for 100,000 years.
Right.
And it's like, dude, no.
Instead, it was
What is why we end up with, like, oh, Canada,
yes.
we stand on God for thee. And you're like, okay, yeah, all right, we're good. There's a lot of choruses to those songs, too, that they cut off.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
You ever go to a hockey game and you're like, the anthem is much longer than that, but we have to cut that off.
I can't say that I have. Well, I mean, I could, but I'd be lying.
Frank White says the anthem of Canada should be the TSN National Hockey League theme song. That's legit. Oh, my pneumonia. Oh, God. I'm going to die. Ollie H says, the tank, the overflow is in the center at the rear. And to be honest with you, that's a nice looking, reef tank. Was it 32 gallons, something like that?
That's what he said, yeah.
Nice little QB McCuberton.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good. Got a nice
really
little coral.
happy.
Got a nice little coral selection. And Rumbust on a follow-up from last week says, no eggs. Last week I claimed that one of my super reds was in a cave with eggs. Sadly, that wasn't true. I guess it was just pink ram's horns I saw. And now I'm sad.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Well, that's the thing, man. If you're feeding your super reds, you got males and females in there. They're caving up. They're doing their thing. You're on the right track. And it's generally speaking just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Generally. There's times when you have to trick them.
That's true.
Like, I find that if they're in there together and they've grown up together and it's been like a year and they haven't bothered to try to make babies, if you trick them by taking one of them out and putting him into another tank, and then you take another one out and you put it into that same tank, then they go, where am I? Clearly this is all new territory, and so therefore all the other fish that I didn't like before, they're gone. Oh, wow. Who's this hot fish? And then they go and do fish things.
Then they go and do fish things.
Yes.
All right. So who was asking? Let me get rid of this. And let me add source, media files, media file. Oh, and look at that. It's just right there. Boom, shakalaka-laka, boom, boom. Boom, shakalaka-laka, boom, boom. This part is brought to you by Marine Depot, who was a sponsor of mine for a little while until they eliminated that department at their company. Which, shout out to Marine Depot. What happened, man? What happened? What happened to you? Hey, what happened to you?
I don't know.
It's weird I keep talking about sponsors today.
Is it though?
Is it though? Where's the sponsors?
They're all gone.
What the F?
They've all decided not to do that anymore. Maybe they're combating the tariffs.
They're combating the tariffs by not sponsoring and selling their products?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. No, it's fine. I'll find a sponsor. It'll happen one way or another. Okay, hold on. What's going on here? I got 9,000 things on my phone right now going off, going crazy. Got cousins, got Vicky texting me. All right, if you guys are...
Did somebody die?
No,
are you
everyone's
okay?
It's literally about some frozen fish. Somebody...
Oh, okay.
Somebody
good.
went fishing and they want to see if we want frozen. Yeah, sure. Frozen fish. That's all cryopacked. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's a lot of drama for some frozen fish, right?
Yeah.
That's weird. Anyhow, the zombie drummer with the $5 super chat, which, by the way, we could at least do the minimal work for a $5 super chat, right? He was asking, is what you described similar to a Herbie overflow? And yes, here we go. Here is a Herbie overflow, and I don't know if I can zoom in on it. I might have to make it full screen. I'm going to have to make it bigger. There we go. We'll be over here. We'll be sneaky over here in the corner. Hey, everybody. But yes, let me get my arrow out. Let me find my arrow. Turn on. Okay. Oh, the arrow's behind the picture, though. We have to move it up here. Okay, yeah, so we have the parts of the overflow right here. So where this little clownfish is the tank. Then you can see the teeth going to the overflow. And then we have this pipe right here is the primary drain that is on a siphon running down to... On here is a ball valve. I 100% recommend a gate valve as opposed to a ball valve. Then you can adjust the siphon to make sure that it's set to the level that you want. Then you have the emergency standpipe, and this also says to put a strainer in there, which, yeah, it seems like you want to have a strainer. But this is a good example of what's going on. It's a nice little drawing. Thank you very much for Marine Depot allowing us to steal it from the internet and borrow it for a minute to show people the Herbie overflow, and give a shout out to Marine Depot because they did sponsor a long time ago, many moons ago, 7 years ago or something. I don't know.
That's a long time.
It was a long time ago. It's 2020 now. It's the year 2020. Are you guys aware of that?
8 years ago, I think I just had 2 tanks.
7 years ago.
Still.
Where were we at 6 years ago?
6 years ago, I think I might have got down to 1 tank.
What about 5 years ago?
Still 1 tank.
What about 4 years ago?
I think that's where I started having multiple tanks again.
Oh, Lord. 2016, getting wild with the tanks. All right, I like it. Hey, guys. Preston John says, what makes a sponsor? Dollar amount. Preston John is a sponsor. He is one of our producers on the channel here. He's one of the 3 people at the sponsor. You know, he's at the producer level on the Patreon. So shout out to Preston. I'm still trying to figure out to do some quick trips this year. One of them, hopefully, being Arizona. Go mess around with Preston. Hopefully, going to Florida at some point. Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin is in there somewhere. Trying to go to one of those. But yeah, yeah. Preston is a very generous sponsor of the show. Shout out not only with that, but he also is the father of my puffer fish. I mean, he bred them, so I don't know what that makes him. The paterfamilias, right? I don't know if I'm gonna be the paterfamilias. I don't wear no fop. You see?
I don't know what that
You ever
would
see
make.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I did.
I'm a Dapper Dan man.
But it's another one. I don't
I'm a
think I
Dapper
quote it.
Dan man.
Okay.
You ever seen movies?
Nope.
Modern day things. Okay.
No movies for me. Never.
Yeah. Big D Smoke says, if the Washington State Lotto Commission would get with that program and sell me the damn winning ticket already.
Right?
I tried last week. I tried to buy the winning lottery ticket, and I failed miserably. I won $2 American,
Wow.
but it cost me $5.
Oh.
So
net
negative
down
$3.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. That's not bad. But let's see what we got going on. Do we have any new members today? Let's take a look. Nope. No new members today. No new Patreonizers either. Frank White is wondering, what is Patreon exactly? So Patreon is a third-party website where people can go up and essentially crowdsource certain projects. You know, if somebody's like a creative person, somebody makes YouTube videos, somebody makes paintings, somebody makes whatever, and doesn't have necessarily a source of income, but you're like a fan, you're basically crowdsourcing doing bigger projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to do like a TV show, like let's say that we wanted to do a TV show with me and Alyssa and say Bentley Pasco and like Preston and Joel Jay-Z and Dennis and Rogers Aquarium. Oh, let's say we want to do a TV show with like 8 characters, and we're going around and we're working on fish tanks and we're doing stuff and whatever, and it's a whole TV, whatever. It's a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would look at a TV show's operating budget and be like, oh my God, that is so much money. And you're like, yep, it's a ton of money. Just to get, like, for instance, a gaffer, right, to come on is probably $150 an hour. To get a key grip, somebody to come put the lights in, is right around $150 an hour. Everyone's at, like, electrician rates as far as, like, TV or whatever production and whatnot. So, you know, I'm not saying we're trying to get to the TV production budget, but to increase the budget means that we'll be able to do bigger projects like a TV show and make more videos and stuff. It takes me a lot of time to make all this stuff by myself, and I'm honestly not even that good at a lot of it, you know. And you just think about how much time I have to actually like accomplish all of the functionary parts. I just don't have a ton of time to accomplish all of the parts. To build the fish tank stands, to aquascape the tanks, to set them up, to maintain them, to do all the water changes, to figure out which lights work with what, to figure out what filtration is going to work well there, to build a new reactor because the old reactor didn't work very well, to build this office space down here, to build all those shelves behind Alyssa, to wire all the stuff together, to build the computer, to hook the computer up to the internet, to get all the software to work together, to just do a live stream that's only this good, right? You know, to set up all the lights, to do all that kind of stuff. It's a long process, especially when it's by myself. Like, I don't have anybody
on the payroll.
I don't have anybody on the payroll helping out. Like, I don't have an editor. I have to do all the editing. I have to do all the sound. I have to do all that stuff. Like, I literally got 4 complaints yesterday on a video from a year ago that somebody was like, the music in the background is too loud on this video. I can't even watch this crap. And I'm like, this video is from 16 months ago, first of all, right? It's not like I'm airing it. It's not like I have an antenna that I'm like airing out the videos like I'm making it right now. Here, I'm shooting it to your house. You know, like this video just exists online. Like it doesn't. I'm not making it at the moment somebody's watching it. Anyhow, and it literally stood out to me because I was like, somehow the robot is sharing this with people that don't like sounds in the background of a video, right?
Right.
But then the funny thing is, the exact same video, I got 2 comments on it that were like, dude, I really dig the background music. That's dope. Thanks for the video. And I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. So I'm literally like, I make a video, and half the people are super pissed that there's music in the background, and then the other half of the people are like, hey, I like the music in the background. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, what am I doing? What is happening here? And then it's like, so should I go back and like change my mix? Like, should I change how I mix my audio because these people are pissed and those people aren't? See what I'm saying? See how this crap starts to pile up on my head, and then I don't sleep at night because I'm wondering if my audio mix was good for the people to listen to it on YouTube? Like, what am I doing? I don't even have a sound guy.
You need to hire them chickens.
There's no sound guy here.
They go pulling their weight.
So, yeah, I do have goals to keep going and getting better and better. And I will say, like, from my own perspective, I'm much better than I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. For sure. 100%. There's not a shred of doubt in my mind that my crap compared to my crap is better now than it was. So, like I said, man, we're just going to baby step our way to the future. you know what? I might just get pneumonia and die and not ever have to worry about it ever again. Or I'll just continue to baby step and just incrementally get a tiny bit better every time I try to do something, which could be good too. Right?
If I had the time to learn editing stuff, like, I think about it, like, what would I make? And I think I would do a video on how those Mahachiensis bettas were bred.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're pretty cool.
Did you breed them?
Yeah.
All right.
I bred them, and the babies, they're like this big, which they're like this big. I don't know if that's a good.
I'm going to hold up a hammer.
Where is my mind? Or the most mature ones are anyways. And they're,
I just coughed into the mic. Sorry, guys.
It's all your fault. You're a terrible person.
It's your fault. Don't be funny or entertaining on this show. We shall be morose. Okay? This is the sadness depression show. We're not in Hawaii.
We're going to do that.
You got them bred, though. Yeah?
Yeah, so I've got them bred.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. I've got covered up one eye so that we can go sad and morose.
Don't do that. It's just weird.
It is weird. I don't like it.
It's weird.
And so now they're starting to color up, and it's kind of cool because they're slightly different shades of blue and green, the iridescence. And so I think I'm going to save 2 pairs and try it again and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Cool.
that's how you eventually end up line breeding stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Justin Woody says, I can't keep 30 people happy at work, and you put it out to millions on YouTube, so you're not going to win that one.
That's why there's always 1,000 thumbs up and then 14
I'll put it this way.
thumbs down.
I spent so many years being a chef that people would come in, and they'd be like, oh, I want the spaghetti bolognese, but I don't want that with meatballs. I want it with halibut. And I would also like my noodles to be not al dente. I would like them to be, could you cook them more? And also I want my cheese on the side. And then it's like, what the, and I would get these tickets they would print into the kitchen, and you'd just be like, what is wrong with this idiot that is out there? What? You want cheese with your fish, you disgusting freak? And you're like, okay. So then it's like I'm supposed to just be chill about this whole situation. Like, oh, the chef's crazy. Like, he's pissed. And it's like, because you rewrote the menu on the fly from some random person that clearly doesn't know.
Right.
You don't put Asiago cheese on halibut. Like, what? That's going to be disgusting. And it's like, just make it for the customer. The customer's always right. You're like, okay, I shall execute this customer's stupid order, right? Then the customer will get the stupid order and then be pissed that it tastes like crap. And it's like, yes, because these flavors don't go together. You don't put this inside the other part, you dingleberry,
Right.
How about you order, I don't know, maybe we took time to write the menu and perfect all of the recipes so that they would be ready. So when you came in, you could point at the thing that has the picture. If that looks good, it has the picture.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea how much time I've spent on the psychology of menus, like how to design a menu, what pictures to put on there, so the old gringos can figure it out. Like, I want that right there. Like,
Well,
oh. You want the thing with the picture? Okay. And if you want to see when it's insane, right? Companies like Denny's they spend millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on those menus. And that's like when you take that menu design and just do a bunch of amphetamines or something. I'm not 100% sure what it is. Steroids and amphetamines or something, and be like, print these things and we got to have pictures all over the place, and it's got to be bright colors and blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh, my God. But yeah, Americans are that way. They like to point at the picture and have the thing that's the picture.
As somebody who eats food at a restaurant,
You eat food?
I do every once in a
word.
while. Yeah,
That's cool.
I know, it's crazy. You should
I
try
jive.
it sometime.
A jive. I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I've definitely been
eating food and not dying from starvation.
right.
I dig your jive.
I've
like
definitely looked through the menu and been like, well, that's the thing with the picture. It does look really good, but I know I'm being manipulated into buying that thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah,
And I'll be
even
like,
when you recognize it, you're still like, I still
man.
want the picture thing. I know what they're doing. But I still want the picture thing.
I know what you're doing. It's like, I know that the whole reason that people go nuts for the pumpkin spice latte is because they only have it
Mm-hmm.
in the fall. And so people just go insane for it. But when it's fall, you do still want it.
Right.
But if they offered it all the time, people would only sometimes get it.
Like the Shamrock Shake.
Yes, like the Shamrock Shake. Like, I get excited thinking, like,
I know people that don't
gonna
even
be
eat
March.
at McDonald's, but they're like, I'm gonna go have a Shamrock Shake, and then they have diarrhea later, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you knew that was gonna happen. You got tricked because it was green, supposed to be ice cream, which it isn't.
It's the only I was arguing with somebody I don't know, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to not have chocolate. I don't know why. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll get you some, like, you like mint ice cream, so you can have mint ice cream. And I was like, cool. You know, every single mint ice cream has chocolate chips in it. And they were like, nah, there's lots of mint ice cream that doesn't. And I was like, really? Let's go to the store.
There is mint ice cream that has not chocolate in it, but it will be typically gelato is what it'll be labeled as.
Yeah. So I was getting the Talenti gelato, and it has chocolate chips in it.
Oh, that one does?
Yep.
No.
Mm-hmm. The Mediterranean mint has chocolate chips in it. And at the time I was doing...
I'm a huge chocolate fan, so I don't really care if
Right.
you don't want chocolate in something. I'm like, you should put more chocolate in that.
Right.
And
There
I'll
were
have
some...
it.
There
And I
was...
shall have it with my mouth parts.
Yes. And it's delicious, and I love
delicious. Peter Livenchuk, sorry for the random audio suggestions. I don't know if you have the ability to put a hard compressor on your mic so you don't have worries too much about blowing ears. I do have this microphone, and this setup in here is compressed, but even if I yell into the mic, it still will do it. I occasionally won't. The problem is that if I try to compress this audio too much into the software that I broadcast with, it goes full ham. Like if I try to do it too much, but yeah, there's just a point that, like, this is a shoestring operation, you know what I mean?
It's only so much.
There's only so much that can be done on a regular basis before we start to lose our minds. Sam Malone with a $5 super chat says, Joel, have you found your old notes on EI dosing like we talked about last live stream? If not, cool. Keep on keeping on. I was looking for them, and they are on a hard drive over there on the ground that is not hooked up to a computer right now. But I am going to fire that thing up once I start to build that computer, which Alyssa knows I've been not built in the last 4 months at least.
Yep, that's
She keeps
true.
coming over, and the parts are still sitting there.
And then
it's like last on my list of to do is to
but
build
then
that
I sit
computer.
there and I go, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm
And
just
then
sad.
he cries in the corner for a little
Disappointed.
while, and that's why sometimes it takes a while to start the stream. Got to get the tissues.
The tissues. It's because of the tissues, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we're deep. We're deep in this episode. So let's not blow our budget on going too deep here. We don't want to go too deep, guys. We're coming up on 2 hours, so I'm just going to call it quits for the day, and you all have a lovely, fantastic whatever it is that you have out there. Let's give a shout-out real quick to Rumbust, the Fish Tank Barn, the Zombie Drummer, and Sam Malone for your super chats today. Very much appreciate it. It all goes back into making more and more and more stuff. Anthony Brown has posted some Rock pictures. Is that rock or wood?
That looks like
Ooh.
wood.
That looks like wood. Oh, that's cool. Oh, those are cool. Okay. Anthony has posted up into the Discord some cool wood pictures, so definitely appreciate that. That's me. That's the chat over there. Okay. All right. I love you all. Hit the like button on your way out the door, and I will talk to you at some other juncture in time. I forget what I'm supposed to do here. Am I supposed to end the stream over there or over here? I can never figure this out.